Hi everyone, Catherine here from Ink Fingered Cat, back with another 30-day Christmas card making challenge for Martin's challenge. I'll link all the info in the description box below. Today's is a colour challenge, and the gorgeous colours that Martin has chosen are all Concord and Ninth inks, or Concord and Ninth colours, which are beautiful, but I don't own any of the ones that are on today's list. So I'm making it up as I go along. I'm going to use distress inks. So the colours that he's chosen are poppy, evergreen, and sea glass. I had to go with evergreen vow for the evergreen. I've gone with candied apple for the poppy, and I've gone with tumbled glass. All distress ink colours for my colours. I think it's close enough. It's slightly more of a green than a blue. The sea glass, the Concord and Ninth one, would have been good with something like soft sea foam from Stampin' Up. I don't own that as an ink either. So yeah, it's slightly more blue in my card colouring than the original in the challenge. But I think it's fine. I decided to do a stenciling directly onto the card blank using that fab sort of like plaid pattern. It's a Sizzix stencil, 4 layers, and it just makes a really fun background. And I thought it looked nice. And that way I've immediately got my 3 colours in there in the background. And at this point, I thought I was going to put maybe a polar bear on top of it. That is not what happens. But that's what I thought at the time. That I was going to go and get a cutesy stamped image and put that on top. Didn't do that. Instead, I went and grabbed the brand new to me that has only arrived in the last couple of weeks. Alex Siberia. I don't actually know what this die set is called, but it makes the most amazing floral thing. But I don't use it how it is originally designed to be done, which is you do the big panel and then you place all the elements onto the big panel, how it's sort of like imprinted in, it gives you all the clues. I just use the flower elements individually, just die cut them all once from the white, and then I'll colour them and I'll use them to create a cluster. That's fine. It does give you examples of doing that. At first I was going to use the H and the O and do ho, but I don't end up die cutting those in the end. So yeah, I die cut it all from white once, and then I go and get a sticky mat. So this time I use the waffle flower sticky mat. I used my stamp wheel for the stencils because it allows you to just line it up really easily in the corner every time. That's so easy. But for this, I just wanted those 2 little elements sticking to something. So I used my waffle flower one. And I am using the same inks to ink these die cuts up. I do leave some little white elements, so it sort of like fades out. I also add some of the tumbled glass to these sort of like berry type things. So it's not very naturalistic. I don't think there are berries that are this shade in this kind of shape. They're kind of like rose hip shaped kind of thing. But anyway, that's what I end up doing. And then I do bring in the hickory smoke just to darken up the flower centres and the very edge of those rose hip ones that are attached to a leaf. It's very subtle and it's just to give you a little bit of shading. I think when we do colour challenges, we're normally allowed to bring in a neutral. I certainly hope so, because that's what I've done. So I'm now deciding how I want them, and normally I would lay everything out on the card first and then decide, but all I got round to doing was putting the 2 flowers, and then thought, no, I'm just going to start sticking things down. So I'm going to start with sticking the sort of flower centres into those flower bits, and then I'll leave them to dry. Then I'll stick these like weird pod berry type things onto the stem. On the pictures they have them so that the stem is on the top, which I find really odd, but it looks really funky, so I did them the same. But for these ones I did add the head of the berry just to give it a little bit of extra dimension. I did add those. And then all my leaf elements, and then I don't bother with the other flower centres that I've die cut extras of, because I've only die cut one of each of those flowers. So this is me now creating my little idea of how I want it to look. And at first I thought I was going to use my picky uppy tool, but I didn't bother because I made a right mess. So I just used my fingers. It's fine. My fingers are really quite inky today because I did lots of inking for this. Now, this is where I was umming and ahhing about sentiment and decided instead I would stick this sentiment, which is Deck the Halls. Again, it's a waffle flower one, already stamped, die cut and stacked. I did decide to raise it up on the adhesive foam squares, just so it's got that little bit of dimension above the floral element. And now I'm just grabbing myself some gems. These are enamel dots from Hey Little Magpie, and I just grabbed 3 of these that I thought worked with that kind of poppy colour. And that was my card done. Do you know what? Absolutely love it. I mean, I love those dies. They are amazing, and they were worth breaking my no spend promise to go and purchase, but this is my first use of them. I can see me using these a lot. So hope you've enjoyed that simple card. I'm saying simple, took a few bits and pieces. Please subscribe to see future videos. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Till next time, bye bye.